Macmillan Audio presents The End of the End of the Earth, Essays by Jonathan Franzen, narrated for you by Robert Petkoff. This audiobook includes a new epilogue, written and read for you by the author.
The Essay in Dark Times. If an essay is something essayed, something hazarded, not definitive, not authoritative, something ventured on the basis of the author's personal experience and subjectivity, we might seem to be living in an essayistic golden age. Which party you went to on Friday night, how you were treated by a flight attendant, what your take on the political outrage of the day is. The presumption of social media is that even the tiniest subjective micro-narrative is worthy not only of private notation, as in a diary, but of sharing with other people. The U.S. president now operates on this presumption. Traditionally hard news reporting, in places like the New York Times, has softened up to allow the I, with its voice and opinions and impressions, to take the front page spotlight, and book reviewers feel less and less constrained to discuss books with any kind of objectivity. It didn't used to matter if Raskolnikov and Lily Bart were likable, but the question of likability with its implicit privileging of the reviewer's personal feelings is now a key element of critical judgment. And literary fiction itself is looking more and more like essay. Some of the most influential novels of recent years by Rachel Cusk and Karl Ove Knausgaard take the method of self-conscious first-person testimony to a new level. Their more extreme admirers will tell you that imagination and invention are outmoded contrivances, that to inhabit the subjectivity of a character unlike the author is an act of appropriation, even colonialism, that the only authentic and politically defensible mode of narrative is autobiography. Meanwhile, the personal essay itself, the formal apparatus of honest self-examination and sustained engagement with ideas as developed by Montaigne and advanced by Emerson and Woolf and Baldwin, is in eclipse. Most large circulation American magazines have all but ceased to publish pure essays. The form persists mainly in smaller publications that collectively have fewer readers than Margaret Atwood has Twitter followers. Should we be mourning the essay's extinction? Or should we be celebrating its conquest of the larger culture? A personal and subjective micronarrative. The few lessons I've learned about writing essays all came from my editor at The New Yorker, Henry Finder. I first went to Henry in 1994 as a would-be journalist in pressing need of money. Largely through dumb luck, I produced a publishable article about the U.S. Postal Service, and then, through native incompetence, I wrote an unpublishable piece about the Sierra Club. This was the point at which Henry suggested that I might have some aptitude as an essayist. I heard him to be saying, "Since you're obviously a crap journalist," and denied that I had any such aptitude. I'd been raised with a Midwestern horror of yakking too much about myself, and I had an additional prejudice derived from certain wrong-headed ideas about novel writing against the stating of things that could more rewardingly be depicted. But I still needed money, so I kept calling Henry for book review assignments. On one of these calls, he asked me if I had any interest in the tobacco industry, the subject of a major new history by Richard Kluger. I quickly said, "Cigarettes are the last thing in the world I want to think about." To this, Henry even more quickly replied, "Therefore, you must write about them." This was my first lesson from Henry, and it remains the most important one. After smoking throughout my 20s, I'd succeeded in quitting for 2 years in my early 30s. But when I was assigned the post office piece and became terrified of picking up the phone and introducing myself as a New Yorker journalist, I'd taken up the habit again. In the years since then, I'd managed to think of myself as a non-smoker, or at least as a person so firmly resolved to quit again that I might as well already have been a non-smoker, even as...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?